All right, Kwame Sharella, rise to the nation of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. First and foremost, want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto the Most High Power, and just to welcome you to another Sons of Isaac Israelite Congregation Sabbath study. So tonight's study will be going into the signs of warning, right, in the end times, all right, are here. So that's one thing that we got to be able to understand, man, that yes, we are in the end times, and yes, the end times are here, in fact, and they've been here for a while, okay? So let's open up to the book of Revelations real quick. Revelations chapter 22, and I want to start with verse 11. I just want everybody to let this sink in and just let this just really marinate on this, man, because this is so important for us to really understand. And it is key to our survival. You know what I'm saying? Not only as a nation, but as individuals as well. All right. Because remember, the Lord is trying to let us know something. All right. Yes, Revelation chapter 22 and verse 11. I'll wait till everybody's there. Let me know when you are there so that I can, in fact, begin the reading of the chapter. You there? Hold on one second. I'll give you the title later. So it says in Revelation chapter 22 and verse 11, and it says, he that is just, let him be just still. Excuse me, he that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still. Right? So now, what did you get from that? What we just read right there. Sinners are always going to be sinners, and the righteous are always going to be righteous. Okay, I get that. What else? What else did you get from that? Okay, both sides are going to have to maintain it some way. But what's being said here is, right, if you are a sinner, be a sinner still, right? So basically, basically John is sitting here giving us the dividing line right between the righteous and the wicked, right? If you're a sinner, be a sinner still. If you're righteous, be righteous still. All right. If you're gonna be filthy, profane, be filthy and profane. If you're gonna be holy, right? So remember, there is no middle ground with this. You understand? We are in the times right now where there is literally no there's no middle ground left for us. Okay, it's either you're going to be righteous or you're going to be wicked. All right, you have to right now you have to make the ultimate decision within yourself to honestly say, all right, I'm going to keep myself locked into righteousness, all right, and not wickedness. Okay. And then if you're just gonna be wicked, then you're just gonna fall off from the commandments and not take heed to anything that the Lord is saying or trying to show you, right? In his biblical text, right? Okay, according to his law, statutes, and commandments, and the prophecy that the Lord has been revealing to us, right? So that goes for everybody down the line, man. You know what I'm saying? It even goes down for the children of Israel, for those that know that they're saints. Okay, so they need to make the decision whether they're going to be righteous or whether they're going to be wicked. All right. So that's the main point that is being conveyed here. Okay. So make sure that you understand that. All right. So then he says, "And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me to give every man according to it, according as his work shall be." Right. So that's Christ even letting us know, man, that he is coming, right? And he's going to have a reward, right? For the righteous and for the wicked, right? Everybody's going to get something at the end of all of this. You understand? Either you're going to receive the reward of righteousness, which is everlasting life, or you're going to receive the reward of a sinner, right? Which is death, point blank, period. There's no such thing as a middle ground in this. You can't be stagnant or anything. It's either you're on one side or the other. All right. So now let's go to the book of Luke now. Let's go to the book of Luke. Luke chapter 17. Luke chapter 17, and I want verse 26. Hold on. All right. And it says, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. Right? So now, what is Christ letting his disciples know? Right, that the end times are going to be exactly just like the times of Noah. Okay. So he says this is how you know that Christ is going to return, right? When you go back and you see when you see things like in the time of Noah, where can I go and get that understanding from? Genesis what? Genesis chapter 6. Let's go real quick. Let's see how it was in the time of Noah. How was it in the time of Noah? Was it peace, love? Was it harmony? Was it unity going on during the time of Noah? Well, let's find out. All right. So it says in Genesis chapter 6, and we're going to read verse 11. And it says, the earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. Okay. So now you see that it says that the earth was corrupt and it was filled with violence, right? So now you see how does it look today? How are things going today? The exact same, right? But on a much worse type of scale, all right. And the Bible shows us that it's going to be much worse than it was during the time of Noah. Okay, who could tell me some things that was going on during the time of Noah that you just kind of can kind of basically common sense tell me off top. All right, the worship of false gods. All right, graven images. What else? How does the earth become violent? Murder. Okay, murder was going on through the earth. What else? All right, homosexuality. What else? War. Right, wars. All type of wars being fought in the earth. Okay, so those are a lot of the things that was going on during the time. Not only murder, not only homosexuality, bestiality, or many of the things that we see are being transgressed in the law. Right, but also war, violence, all that type of stuff, man, was going on in the earth at this time. All right. So now let's read on. So it says, and they did eat and they drank and they married wives. They were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. So what does that mean? I just read verse 27, where it says they did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. So, what is Christ explaining to us right there about when he comes back, how things are going to be? Uh, right. Okay. So they continue to marry. What does that mean? Or excuse me, they continue to eat. Meaning that they did what? They still continue to indulge themselves in all type of wines and liquors, just like you see now, man. When I like when I go to work, right? I see a lot of them. They still enjoy themselves. They still enjoying themselves, right? They sitting there eating. They sitting there drinking. Like ain't nothing happening in the earth right now. Like destructions and things like that. Tornadoes, hurricanes, fires ain't going on right now. They act like they're just totally oblivious to everything that's going on outside of their little world, right? They said, and it says that they were marrying wives. People were still getting married. Interracial marriage was still going on. Many of these things were happening, right? They were marrying, they were giving into marriage, right? Until the day that Noah had entered the ark, right? Until that day Noah entered into that ark, and then that flood came, right? And then they were all destroyed. So it's going to be the exact same thing that's going to happen to everybody here in this plane of existence as well. People are still going to be partying. People are still going to be out committing fornication, adultery, so on and so forth, all the way up until the Son of Man returns, right, with great power and with great glory. Okay, they're still gonna be doing this the same exact thing. All right. Remember, because much of it, man, we can only go by the interpretation, by our interpretation of the events that are occurring, right? But we don't know the actual time, man, that the Son of Man will return. He can return at a time, man, just like right now. You understand? Those that could be sealed are already sealed, right? The 144,000 sealed, the one third has been sealed. Guess what? He can come back and destroy everybody who was not following the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And has been sealed by the Holy Spirit. You see? So all the way up until the flood came, man, people were still doing whatever they wanted to do. They did not give heed to what was going on in the earth. All right. Even though that Noah was out there preaching to them and letting them know, look, a great destruction is coming. Isn't that what Hebrew Israelites do now? The prophets of the Lord, they go out and they prophesy of the great destructions that are to come upon the face of the earth. They're letting them know, man, America's going to fall. America is falling, right? It is falling, just as the Bible prophesied. All right, it's being torn apart. Okay, by the very immorality that America produces. You understand? This is the same thing that was happening. All right, during the time of Noah. Okay, so now, so now let's read on. So then it says, likewise also it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, and they built. Right. So it was the same thing with Lot. Right. Remember Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah. Were they not eating? Were they not drinking? Were they not still committing fornication? Were they not having sex with animals? Were they, weren't they living it up? They was living the champagne life and all of that, right? Even during the time of Lot. And then what happened? Let's read. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. So now you see, right? Lot was saved, all right, from the great destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities that were around about them. Completely destroyed, man. Fire and brimstone rained down on the city, okay, and destroyed it completely, all right. So now let's read on. Then it says, even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. He said it's going to be the same way. It's going to be in the same time, manner, and fashion, man, as when the Son of Man is revealed. All right. So now let's read on. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Excuse me. Remember Lot's wife. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it. And whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. So now what did Christ mean by remember Lot's wife? She looked back, right? So now what does it mean when she looked back? What does that represent? Right. She still desired that lifestyle, but what else? Something even more simplistic. Something even more simplistic. Okay, she didn't want to give it up. A little bit more simplistic than that. Right. She turned away from the Most High. All right. She turned away. Point blank, period. That's why he's warning you, man. Remember Lot's wife. She looked back, right? She turned away. And then what happened? She became that pillar of salt that still stands until this very day. Okay. So that's why I said, whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, right? That's very important for us to understand too. If you're seeking to save your life, Remember, you're going to lose it. What does it mean? What does Christ mean when he says when you seek to save your life? You gotta speak up. Okay, when you seek the riches of this world, right? And you just pretty much, you just toss the most high to the side, right? Okay, I get that. What else? You got something else for me? What does it mean when Christ says if if you trying to save your life, you're gonna lose it? Okay, so pretty much back to what you were saying. When Christ says, if you're trying to gain the whole world and you lose your soul in the process of gaining the world, right? Meaning that you getting everything that you ever wanted, right? But then you turn your back on the Most High, right? Now you put yourself in a worse predicament. That's why he said, man, if you're in this knowledge, right, and you're looking back, right, that means you're like Lot's wife. That's why he said, remember Lot's wife. Remember when she looked back, she turned away from the Lord. You understand? So now that's what he said, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it, right? So you lose your life, you preserve it. Meaning you give up those ways, you give up the ways of the world, man, to follow after the ways of Christ, right? And go his direction. That's what it means to lose your life, okay? What you say? Yep, no more YOLO life, right? You only live once, no more of that. So then he says, I tell you, in that night there shall be two men in one bed. The one shall be taken, and the other shall be left. Two women shall be grinding together. The one man shall be taken, and the other left. So you see that? So then the Lord is letting you know, man. He's like, look, he says one man is going to be taken, the other man is going to be left behind. So this is where they get the whole left behind thing from, which is very true. The righteous are going to be taken up. The one who is wicked is going to be left behind. Two women grinding in the field, right? So they working. The righteous woman is going to be taken up. The wicked woman is going to be left behind. Point blank, period. All right. So then he says, two men shall be in the field, and one shall be taken, and the other left. And they answered and said unto him, where, Lord? And he said unto him, wheresoever the body is, thither will the eagle be gathered together. The eagles be gathered together, right? So he was like, wherever the body is, all right, that's where the people are gonna be gathered. So everybody's gonna be gathered to Christ, pretty much. All right. So remember how when the righteous are gonna be gathered, they're gonna be gathered up, they're gonna be taken up in the ships, man, when all of this is gonna be destroyed. You understand? So the ones who left behind, they're gonna receive their final judgment and fate, right? It's to be destroyed with the rest of this earth. All right. They're not going to be able to see the new heaven and the new earth that's going to be created and formed. All right. So so just to recap a little bit on that, remember, so just as in the days of Noah, those are the times that we're in right now. All right. So remember, of course, understand there were still earthquakes, there were still floods, there were still great destructions that were going on even during the time of Noah. All right. So just don't think that it was just wars and violence and all that going on the earth. No, it goes into much more. Remember, the Most High uses certain things as judgments, man, upon the earth to destroy people. All right, especially the wicked. So now let's go to the book of Matthew. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. Let y'all explain this. So now it says in Matthew chapter 24, verse 1. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Right. So what is he talking about right there? Right. So when the city, the temple was going to be basically destroyed. All right, in 70 A.D. Okay, prophesied in the book of Daniel, chapter 9. So now he says in verse 3, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So now his disciples are asking him a question, right? So when are these things going to occur? When is going to be, he said, what? When is going to be the sign of your second coming? So they understood that there was going to be a second coming of the Messiah. So they understood that he had to go away, right? And he's going to come back. When it says, and the end of the world. So when was the world going to end? That's what they were, that's what they pretty much what they were asking him. All right. And this is what Yahweh said. He said, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, right? So he said, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many, right? So what does that mean when it says they were going to come in his name, saying, I am Christ? Hold on, hold on. What'd you say, Terror War? Yeezianity, right? His own, his own. Mm, yep, that's right. They better. So, so So now we said, well, I am Christ, right? So they're going to come in the appearance and the likeness of Christ, right? But they're not. So they're going to deceive many people into believing that they are Christ Himself. Okay, so remember, you had those that profess themselves to be Jesus Christ or Yahweh Shai, right? You know what I'm saying? But they're imposters, okay, because they have not walked the walk that Christ is walking, right? And remember, Christ gives us the key understanding to His second coming, okay? Remember, He said, "Look, they say Christ is over here, don't believe Him. He said He's over there, don't believe Him. He said He's under the mountain, don't believe Him. They said He's over there in that church, don't believe Him." He said, "Don't believe nothing what they say, right?" But what He say, Yeshua? What Christ say about how He's going to return? And what does the Bible tell us about how Christ is going to return? That what He was going to return. He was going to return, right, with great power and glory. You're going to see Him coming from the sky. The same way that He went up is the same way He's going to return, right? So when He ascended into the cloud, He said that's the exact same way He coming back. He's going to descend into the earth. So that's why can no man fool us into believing that He is Christ Himself. Oh, I just appeared. I'm here. Yes, look at me. I don't give a damn if He sat there and levitated above the ground. You know what I'm saying? And flew down western. Christ showed me in the scriptures how He's going to return and the way He's going to return. He said when He returns, everybody's going to see it. That's why I said every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess. You understand? He's coming back with power. All right. In Revelation, in the book of Revelation, just shows us that, man, how He's going to return. Okay. Real quick, let me get that for you guys. It's right here in verse 30, in chapter 24. It says, and then shall the son of excuse me, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in the heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And He shall send His angels with the great sound of the trumpet, and they shall gather His elect from the four winds and from one end of the heavens to another. So you see, that shows you right there how Christ said He's going to come back, how He said He's going to return. Okay? He said with power and glory. That's how He's going to return. So everybody's going to see Him. All the tribes of the earth are going to mourn. So everybody's going to see Him coming from that sky. All right, when He cracked that sky, as they say. So now, Let's jump back up and let's read verse 4 again. So he says, and Yahweh Shai answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? So now he said, and ye shall hear what? Of wars and rumors of wars. All right. So what are some of the wars that you see that's going on right now? Yes. Okay, North Korea threatening with nuclear bombs. All right, that they say they have pointed to us. Russia does. All right, those are rumors that you hear about, right? But now, what are the wars that are going on? The wars. I'm talking about the fighting that's the bloodshed that's being spilled. Yes, the actual wars. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. So, right, the wars in the Middle East, right? So, what you say, brother? Yep, the war on terror. Yep. hmm all of those are wars and rumors of wars. Those things are going on right now. That's a sign that Christ is even. That's a sign that Christ is telling us, man, to look for. All right, that's happening. You see the war in Syria. You see the occupancy of Afghanistan. Right, America going in to control the world's opium supply, man. That the Afghanistan people have. You understand? They took that over, right? The rumors of America trying to go in Iran's through, Russia and America, China, you know what I'm saying, America, all of this stuff, all of those are rumors of war, man, that are happening in the earth right now. All right. And they're going to happen. Those wars are going to occur. World War III is inevitable. It has to happen. All right. Those nations have to fight, and you're going to see the Son of Man return. Okay. So now, because remember, those wars are going to cause a massive devastation, man, to this earth. Okay. So not only on top of the plagues, man, that the Most High is sending, but also you're going to see the war that's going to devastate the very foundation of this earth as well. So this is going to be the last and great war that the earth will have. Okay, like my brother Taha War had mentioned, man, about World War One, World War Two. You know what I'm saying? Those were massive wars that devastated the earth. You know, many countries they went bankrupt off of those type of wars, man. America was broke. You know, Europe was broke. You understand? Many of those countries were broke. You understand? After World War One and World War Two. Okay. So so now this is what Christ says here. He says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See ye see that ye be not troubled, right? So Christ is telling you right now, don't be troubled, man, when you hear about these wars, and when you see these wars occurring. All right. He says, don't be troubled by it. He says, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So he says that the end is not yet come just yet. Real quick, let's go to the book of Mark. Mark chapter 13. No, chapter 21 and verse 9. Now this is what Luke is going to show us. No, 21 and 9. Excuse me. Let's check this out real quick. So this is the book of Luke chapter 21 and this is verse 9. And it says, but when ye hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Right? So he says, then he said unto them, nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Right? So nationality versus nationality, because that's what nations are. And he said kingdom against kingdom. A kingdom is like America. A kingdom is like Russia. A kingdom is like China. A kingdom is like Syria. A kingdom is like Iran. All right. So those are what you would call kingdoms. Okay. So now he says, so now let's go back up here. So he said, when y'all hear of wars and commotion, remember, commotion means of chaos and confusion is going on in the earth. All right, you hear about these things. He said, don't be terrified of them. So Christ is letting us know, man, we're not to be afraid when we see these signs here in the earth. All right, remember, there's signs to let us know, man, that the end is near. Okay, but it is not come just yet. So now, so now let's continue reading. Let's go back to the book of Matthew now. So it says in verse 7, which we just read in Luke, uh, it says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Right? So now what are some famines that you've heard of now? What places do you know that are for sure in serious famine? So that's because of the hurricane, man. There's no shipments coming in, man. They just stopped all of that. All right, people are buying up a lot of the supplies that are there, man, and they can't restock none of that stuff. They're turning off the gas, right? They have gas, but they're turning it off. Yes. All right, South America, Africa, there's famine, heavy famines. Okay, Ethiopia, there's severe famines going on over there. All right, Afghanistan, there's severe famines going on over there. Syria, huh? Oh yes, China with their fake food supply, right? You know what I'm saying? California, man. A lot of people don't know, man. We're in famine right now too. You know what I'm saying? Remember the farms that are supposed to be producing up north, the produce up north that we're supposed to be receiving, right? Remember, we've been in a drought for almost 5 years, 5 or 6 years now, where there has been no steady rain. So many of the crops ain't coming up no more, right? So now what happens there? Your food supply gets cut off. So now we have to receive food supply from other states and even other countries, right? To get our food. That's where we get the fake rice, the fake cabbage. You know what I'm saying? The fake rubber chicken. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these foods that we're receiving, yes, they are fake. You know what I'm saying? Or genetically modified, right? For them because they're trying to stretch the food. Okay, so we are technically, literally in a famine too. You understand? So now we says, so now what you say, brother? Yeah. So remember, that's why we get fat. That's why we get overweight. That's why that stuff, our bodies, man, taking that stuff is breaking our bodies down. All right. So now we says, and pestilence and many diseases that's going on, right? What were the outbreaks that they were having out here in America? In America, that was in South America. The Zika virus. You had Ebola. You know what I'm saying? That they were sitting there promoting, right? All type of diseases. What's it called? Mumps outbreak. All of those things was going on. All right. Yeah. Go ahead. Uh, right. Oh, mono. Yeah, sharing. It was that sharing. That's when they sharing the same cups, phones, and kissing on each other. And they don't brush their teeth. Mhm. Check that out. What's that called? MRSA? MRSA, where they sharing needles. Man, you gotta think twice, man, if you want to get a tattoo. You understand? I mean, even though tattoos are unlawful, man, but yup, hepatitis, all of those. Yep, all of those are diseases, man, that people receive or are getting. So that's why those pestilences, man, are very strong and prevalent in the earth right now. Okay, there are a heck of a lot of other diseases, man. You got the Black Death that's come back as well. You know, a lot of those strong super viruses, man, that there's no cure for, right? They have a super HIV virus. They have a super bacteria that's supposed to be you're supposed to receive from it's supposed to be like a sexually transmitted disease. You know where you contact that and that's it. You know what I mean? Diseases of the mouth, man, for the mouths going places, man, where they're not supposed to. All right. So pestilences and earthquakes, right? Now check this out. I wanted to show this article, right? So now it talks about how earthquake. It says earthquakes, right? So you know, everybody, but you got to watch out, man. Sometimes about some of the things that man puts out there, right? Sometimes Esau puts misinformation out there, man, to try to deceive people. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? There are earthquakes that are happening all over the world, even as we speak right now. I have here. You can go to earthquaketrack.com, right? And it gives you a list of every single last earthquake that's going on in this earth right now, and it updates it almost every hour, right? So now look at this. It says about 2 hours ago, right, there was a 4.1 magnitude earthquake in Doctor. It was to say Doctor Belicio Dominguez or Labara, uh, Chipas, if I pronounced it right, right? But that's supposed to be in Mexico. So they're having like small aftershocks or aftershocks and quakes that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Even after the even after the 8.1 earthquake that they just had, right? So they had a 4.1 in uh Alaxica, Mexico, if I'm pronouncing that right. Um, they had a four. That was a 4.4. Man, they're having earthquakes like them there every hour in Mexico alone, right? So they had 3.1 in Paris, Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? About 4 hours ago. Like it gives you a complete list of all the earthquakes that occurred, right? Not only here in America, but all around the world, right? So now check this out, and I'm gonna just give you the numbers instead of just reading it all the way through. So it says there have been 152 earthquakes in the past 24 hours, right? 152 earthquakes. There have been 854 earthquakes in the past 7 days. 2,962 earthquakes in the past 30 days. 39,338 earthquakes in the past 365 days. So just in 1 year, that's how many earthquakes there have been. Check that out. So you see what the scriptures are showing us. These are signs that the Lord is showing us, man, to look for in His coming. Okay. So now, like it says here, it says the biggest earthquakes, right? It was the 8.1 in Chiapas, Mexico, right? So it says this week that was the biggest one, okay, that's occurred. All right, the 8.1. But we know that there were major earthquakes, man, even before this one that just happened, right? I believe what was the biggest one that they had? I believe it was in Japan. I think it was like a almost like a nine something. Haiti had like a they had like a 8 point something earthquake. I think like an 8.3 or 8.1. You know what I'm saying? Destroyed almost 300,000, 300,000 some. Well, not destroyed, but 300,000 people were left homeless, man, after that earthquake. The Most High put a lot of us that put that city in rubble. All right. Um, Japan, when Japan they had the strong, they had an earthquake so strong, man, that it knocked axis forward almost 3 degrees. That's why everything seems to be going faster than what it is now, because that's how strong that earthquake was, man. The Most High, man, is speeding up time for us, right? Remember, that's why I said, unless the days be shortened, you know what I'm saying? For the elect's sake, there shall no flesh be left, right? And I believe Christ, he mentions that in here. All right, in Matthew 24, I believe so. But it's just to show. Did you have something? Yes, yes, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. So you have when you have like you just having earthquakes every single day. You know what I'm saying? That's remember that's the travail part. You understand? The earth is in travail. You know what I mean? Remember, the earth is living. It's live. All right. The earth has pain too. So that's why the earth is in its travail right now too, man. And those earthquakes are the sign of its pain. Okay. So remember, it's like how can I say? Yes, exactly. So remember that's why the Lord always told us to give the land rest after every 6 years. The seventh year let the land rest, right? But now Esau he completely lost his mind to where the earth is no longer yielding forth its increase. But as I said, I wanted just to go just to show that this is a sign, man, that the Lord is, what I'm saying, on point with what he's saying. This is a sign that we have here to look at to see, like, yo, these earthquakes are happening, and they're happening more and more. They're happening often, all right, in places where that are not known for earthquakes. California is supposed to be the Quaker state, the earthquake state, right? So California is known for earthquakes, right? But yet is Nepal was Nepal known for earthquakes? Was Japan known for earthquakes? Is Mexico known for earthquakes? No, those places are not known for earthquakes. Is Paris known for earthquakes? Remember, the Most High man, he just shook up Europe badly. You know what I'm saying? And taking many lives there. So what you no, it's those are just a sign. Yeah, it's just a sign to show us, man. Like Christ said, earthquakes in diverse places. You understand? Diverse places, meaning places that are not known for having earthquakes. All right. So now he says, all these are the beginning of sorrows, right? So these are just much of the beginning of sorrows. The things that we're seeing, right? People, thousands of people being displaced because of a flood or or hurricane weather and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They're they're losing everything, right? They're in sorrow about it. You know what I'm saying? Remember, us here in California, we have yet to experience anything to a severity of a natural disaster, right? We're suffering from what you would call a famine or a dry spell, which is just as bad, but something that affects us immediately. No, it has not. It has not fully. All right. So let's continue. So let's continue reading. So it says, then he says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and they shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, right? So many basically Christ is talking about the affliction of the saints, right, or the prophets of those who are professing themselves to be Israel, right? And then he says, many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. All right, that has happened. There are many false prophets in the earth right now that are deceiving many people. Okay, he says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So do you not see the love of many people waxing cold? You see people, they don't have that natural love or affection, you know what I'm saying, for one another anymore, right? Just like you see out there on the streets, you see what I'm saying? Nobody says hi to one another anymore on the streets. You see, you got brothers that'll sit there and curse a sister out like this ain't nothing. You got sisters that'll cuss a brother out like it ain't nothing, man. Pull a knife out on you, stab you, man. Somebody snap on your sneaker, that snuff your life out. You know, all of those different things. That's just showing you, man, how love, because sin is going to abound and increase in the earth, that many people are going to hate one another. All right, and that's true, man. He says, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Right. So Christ is letting us know what? If you endure to the end, then you're going to be saved from these said destructions, man, and many of these deaths that are going to occur. All right. So that's what we have to begin to understand. Okay, that these things have to happen in order for us to receive our reward and to be delivered from this hell that we in right now. All right. So now let's check this out. Let's go to the book of Second Ezra. Well, actually, real quick, let's go to Isaiah, Isaiah chapter 29. I gotta show man that the Lord is the one, you know what I'm saying, that does these things. All right. Isaiah 29, and I'm gonna start at verse 6. And it says, thou shalt be visited of Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and with great noise, with storm and tempest and flame of devouring fire. Right? So now, as you see, man, it says this is how the Lord does visit people, all right, or visit nations, all right, with what do you say, devouring fire, with earthquakes, with what do you say, with tempests, right, with storms. That's how the Most High man visits, visits and brings judgment upon many of these nations. You understand? With earthquakes, huh? Yep, yep. California's still on fire. California been on, yeah, California been on fire for a while now. You understand? Huh? You're right. Yep, yep. I mean, man, it's so many things that's happening in the earth, and the funny part about it is that after what is called Hurricane Irma, after that one, what was it? Was it the Caribbean islands? They just got hit with Irma, and now they about to get hit with Jose. You understand? They about to get hit with another one. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about the power of the Most High, man? So this is the thing, man. You got to really understand. You got to really understand, man, about this Caucasian, right? About the so-called white man. Remember, they don't want to give the Most High the glory, right? It says that in the book of Revelation. When it says, let me read it real quick. Let me read it real quick in Revelations. And I pray that this makes some sense. Check this out. Revelation chapter 16. And I'm gonna read this I'm gonna start at verse 7. Revelation chapter 16 and verse 7. Or actually I'm gonna start at verse 1. That's better. Then I'm gonna just skip through a little bit. Yes, I'm starting 16 and 1. And it says, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your way and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. Right. So remember, the destructions that you see, those are the angels, man, that have control or have been given control over it, right? There are vials, right, of wrath of the Most High that has been given to them, okay? And each wrath, you know what I'm saying, is greater than the next. So then it says, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast and upon them which worship his image, right? So talking about all of them that had the mark, all right? Those were the ones who the vials affected the most, okay? So now let's drop down and read verse 7, okay? With the rest of them, you'll see that the rivers became polluted, they turned as blood, right? Rivers have turned into blood before, right? Okay. So now it says, in verse 7, and I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, Lord God Almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. Right? How do you scorch men with fire? Tahawar? How do you think this happened? Now check this out. The fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, right? And power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. So now how were a lot of these fires started? Okay, I mean you have those incidents where arsenic comes into play, right? But not in this case with these fires. Yes, right. It's so dry, right? You know what I'm saying? And then the sun is so powerful, and the heat the sun starts the fire, right? So now you see that's why it says, and it gave power to scorch men with fire. All right. So these fires are started because this is a vow that has been poured out upon man. All right. So remember, California is not the only place that has been plagued with fires either. All right. Surprisingly, you understand. So there are many other places, right, that have been touched. You know what I'm saying, by the flames of fire. All right, all over the world. So it says, and men were scorched with great heat and blasphemed the name of the Most High, which had power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory, right? So now it says that they blasphemed the Most High. How did they blaspheme the Most High? No, that's one way. But how do they blaspheme him? Right. They say, I mean, they claim they don't. Basically, they're not saying that it's the Most High, right? They're calling it something else. You understand? So, like, basically, like for instance, with the hurricanes, right? Hurricane Matthew, Hurricane Irene, Hurricane Ivan, El Nino. You know what I'm saying? What is all of that? Exactly. So basically, they're giving these hurricanes names instead of saying, you know what, the God of Israel is the one who's doing this. We need to repent and follow him, right? But they're not doing that. They're not giving him the glory. They're blaspheming his name. You understand? They're blaspheming him by calling it something else. So that's why it says he's the one who has power over these things. You understand? If he has power over these plagues that are coming upon the face of this earth, right, from the fires to the storms, the floods, right? If he has power over these things, then why aren't they letting it be known that this is the wrath of God upon the earth? Because they don't want you to believe that it is the wrath of God, that all these things are happening. You know what I'm saying? Because now that puts more power into the scriptures, right? And that means more people are going to begin to look up and wake up, right? They don't want to keep everybody dumbed down, right, into believing that these are natural disasters. They're just natural disasters. These things happen. But yet, when I read this, I'm gonna read an article to show you, man, that scientists they can't believe, man, how powerful this storm that just came actually was. You understand? They can't believe it. Now check this out. You can check this out. This is Newsweek. It says Hurricane Irma leaves scientists at a loss for words, right? So it says it's leaving them at a loss for words. Now check this out. So it says Hurricane Irma made landfalls on the small island of the Bermuda as a Category 5 hurricane. So Category 5, I guess, would be like the strongest of the hurricanes. So it says Category 5 hurricane Wednesday as it heads towards the U.S. Virgin Islands and Florida. The size of the storm left hurricane and weather scientists speechless. I am at a complete and utter loss for words looking at Irma's appearance on the satellite imagery. So they're looking at how powerful and how strong this thing is, right? It says, wrote Taylor Torgon, a scientist at the U.S. National Hurricane Center on Twitter. Irma strengthened to a Category 5 hurricane Tuesday with winds up to 185 miles per hour, right? Now, y'all know a tornado is faster than that, right? Y'all know a tornado is more powerful than that, right? But it says here that this was 185 mile per hour winds. This was strong. This was powerful. Okay. It says the storm is the most powerful ever recorded in the Atlantic Ocean. It says ever recorded, the most powerfulest. You understand? So the Most High is on a whole other level, man. He's stepping his game up. He's letting us know, man, like I'm doing this. This is his hand being stretched forth. Remember, this is Egypt, right? Remember, we're in a place called spiritually Sodom and Egypt. This is where the children of Israel are being held captive, right? My brother Taha Ward, man, had made a beautiful point, man, when he said, "Are the plagues, are these the plagues of Egypt that we're going through?" Right? I'm like, yeah. Remember, you guys sent me that video, man, of the plague of locusts that had came up. You had tagged me that video, and I watched it, and that was crazy. You understand? After the hurricane happened, man, there was a plague of locusts that appeared, right? I'm talking about covered the covered his front window to where you could barely see. Then you look out the side, it's nothing but locusts everywhere. You understand? So now the Most High, remember, he said he's gonna plead with us, or he's gonna plead for us, right? So the Most High, man, he's just flexing his power right now. You understand? That's why this storm is baffling people. It got people shook up now. You see that they evacuated an entire they trying to evacuate an entire state because of just how powerful this hurricane is gonna be, right? Or how it was, right? So it says the storm was the most powerful ever recorded in the Atlantic Ocean, which brings back to something else, right? When it talks about the Atlantic, and I think about this time, war. So now it says that storms build up, right, in the Atlantic, right, from the West African coast, right. A hurricane starts from the West African coast and it builds up to its full strength, right, and it hits the south and the East Coast, right, from Texas to the Texas, Florida, Alabama to Tennessee, all the way up to New York, to the New York states, right? That's how much the Most High, man, he'll hit those states, right, with those hurricanes. You understand? It's a trip. When you look at it. And I remember the first time I heard that, man, it was by Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory had mentioned that, and it was like it blew me away. And I was like, wait a minute, what? He was saying Mother Nature. You understand? But then I already knew. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the Most High's vengeance upon Esau. You know what I'm saying? Upon Esau, right, for the slavery. You know what I'm saying? And forwarding the affliction upon the children of Israel. In the slave coast, right? Shawan was talking about that earlier. You know, about the slave trade, how they was killing our people, man. Remember, they dumped many of the bodies of our people, man, in the ocean. You understand? They killed a lot of our people. You know, not to mention all of the heinous things that they were doing in the Middle Passage, which is like your Caribbean islands. You know, that's why those earthquakes, man, hit there. I mean, that's why those hurricanes hit in those regions so strong, man. Most High bringing judgment upon that place, upon the South too, for what they did. You know, so that's why the East Coast, that's why the South, man, always get hit the hardest and the worst. You understand? But the scientific method that they'll say is because the waters are warm, and it's a rational explanation for it and all of that stuff, right? Oh, but you see, why there's no hurricanes in the Pacific is because the waters are much cooler and stuff like that. I'm like, well, that's BS. That's BS. So you see how they try to make it scientific, right? And they take it away from the Most High. You see what I'm saying? Blasphemy, blaspheme in the name of the Lord, man. You know what I'm saying? Not giving him his glory or his honor. You know that's the problem. So let me read on. So it says. So he says. So it says, it's so strong, it is even, I'll read from the top. Irma strengthened to a Category 5 hurricane Tuesday with winds up to 185 miles per hour. The storm is the most powerful ever recorded in the Atlantic Ocean. It, it's so strong, it is even shown up on scales for measuring earthquakes. That's how strong it is. This ain't no HARP system, people. This ain't no HARP. You understand? This is not no heart, man. Esau, yes, he has technology, man, that's insane, that's out of this world. But there's no way, man, he'll be able to manipulate, man, the weather. You know what I'm saying? The way the Most High has power to control it, right? And I'm gonna take you back. I'm gonna take you back. Now check this out. In Egypt, you see that the magician or the sorcerers they were able to do what? They were able to copy all of the signs, right, that Moses was able to produce all the way up until what plan? The lice. No, they couldn't any like they could do the snake. They can hit the snake. They could do the blood. You know what I'm saying? They could they could do that. They could do those, but they couldn't how can I say they could not duplicate the plagues that the Most High had brought, like the lice and so on and so forth. They couldn't produce those, man. The hail, the fire, you know what I'm saying? The fire, the brimstone that was coming down, the hail that was coming down, mingling with the fire. They couldn't do none of that. The frogs, yep, yep. The boils, they couldn't duplicate the thick darkness, the smoke of darkness. They couldn't duplicate any of those signs, man. So it shows you, man can do. They can try to manipulate it up to a certain point, and after that, the Most High takes over, and that's it. There's nothing else that they can do. All right. So now let's check this out. So it says, no way to sugarcoat it. Irma is the type of tropical cyclone that wipes everything, including all vegetation, clean from small islands, wrote Anthony Signii, the meteorological operations manager at the weather data firm Earth Network, right? So it says the hurricane is expected to hit the U.S. Virgin Islands on Wednesday. Florida Governor Rick Scott says Tuesday the Floridians should heed mandatory evacuation orders. Florida Key official says mandatory evacuation will begin from the small island change 80,000 population or 80,000 population. The U.S. Navy has ordered more than 5,000 military personnel, contractors, and their families to be evacuated from the Naval Air Station in Key West. The storm follows Hurricane Harvey, which made landfall in Texas August 25th. The damage from Harvey, a Category 4 hurricane, could cost between 150 billion to 180 billion in damage. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says last weekend some 60 people lost their lives in the storm. So and then it goes into some other stuff. So it says Congress expected debt a roughly $8 billion aid package to help in the Federal Emergency Management Agency or FEMA in its Harvey recovery efforts. The damage from Irma could add to the cost of emergency spending by the government. President Donald Trump will directly will be directly impacted by Irma as his as his 11-room, $28 million Caribbean mansion on the island of St. Martin is directly in the hurricane's path. I wish his behind was there. The U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration warns the storm will bring life-threatening winds, storm surges, and rainfall hazards to the Virgin Islands and the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico Wednesday. So that's how bad is it. That's how bad is it. That's how bad it is, man. That's how bad it's going to get. And then they got another one right on the way, boy. That's the heavy part about it, man. The Most High is not playing no games, and we see it. These plagues is coming, man. But we got to think about it even for ourselves right now. What is going to occur here? You understand? What do we have to prepare for here right now? You know, you have all of those people trying. You have all of those people evacuating, right? You know what I'm saying, and leaving Florida, right? Trying to go to places like Tennessee, and other regions, right, or other states, right, wherever they can to get away from the hurricane. You know, but we got to start thinking about the same thing, man. Like I said, the Most High is the one who brings those judgments down. Now check this out. This is what I wanted to point out to show you that the Most High does do that. Let's go to the book of Jonah. The book of Jonah, chapter 1. Jonah, chapter 1. And I want to read verse 4. So it says, but Yahweh sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken. Right? So now he said that the Lord has sent a mighty, sent out a great wind into the sea. You understand? So basically, it was like one of the what you see. You see it in what's it called? Pirates of the Caribbean, where they had what are they called? Those underwater they call it underwater tornadoes or like a vortex. Jonah chapter 1 verse 4. Like a vortex, man. So it was like a powerful storm that was occurring, man, and it was gonna break the ship into pieces, right? That's why the mariners was like, "What the hell's going on, man? You know, why is all of this happening? The sea was just fine. Now it's complete chaos." They was praying to their gods, like, "What's going on?" Then it's like, well, you know what? Go get the man down there. Go get Jonah. You know what I'm saying? Then they asked the man, "What's going on? Who are you? What are you?" He said, "I am a Hebrew, right? And I'm running from the Lord my God." And they said, "Are you serious?" So then what happened? So I mean, remember the nations, they still knew about the God of Israel. So once they found out that that happened, Jonah was like, "Man, throw me overboard, and the sea gonna go back to normal." So once they threw him overboard, everything had became calm. And Jonah, that's when he got swallowed up by the big fish. What's polite says, the nigga got swallowed by a fish. And you can't, nigga, I can't believe a nigga got swallowed by a fish. So, so that's why, man, the Most High is the one who does these things. He sends these things, all right? So, real quick, let's go to the book of Second Ezra. Second Ezra chapter 15. I know we went over this topic before, but we can go back over it. But this just goes to show you, man, that this is the Most High power, man. He's the one that's in control of everything. There's nothing that is not in His control whatsoever. So now, chapter 15, and I'm going to read, I'm starting at verse 1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy." What's the prophecy? All of the things that you hear right now. Okay. He says, "Which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in a paper, for they are faithful and true." Right? So those are the word is faithful and true. So the prophecies that we're reading about, they are happening. Okay, they are occurring. That's why I don't understand, man, the logic of my brothers and sisters who are what you call just Torah only. One of you is Torah only. All right. So it says, "Fear not the imagination the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee, that speak against thee, meaning that disbelief. That's what incredulity means, disbelief. So that don't let that disbelief, man, get to you. Don't let it trouble you whatsoever. He says, and them that speak against you, for all the unfaithful, he says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So all of those Israelites that don't want to listen to this, they're gonna die in their unfaithfulness. Okay, the Most High. That's a promise and guarantee in the word of the Most High. So he says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." You see that? This is what the Lord is revealing to Ezra. He said he's going to bring these things. He said, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. All right. We do not see people dying in the millions right now. That's why I cannot believe that man is the one that's in control of this. You understand? They can't control something that, you know what I'm saying, that they cannot or will not be able to control, if that made any sense. All right. So pretty much, man, if they have the element of using a tornado, right, to destroy, you know what I'm saying, people, right, then they would basically, as if I know Esau, he would do it by thousands. I counted 1,000. If he's trying to really depopulate the world to 500 million, like 500 million, like he say he is, right, in the Georgia Guidestone or whatever it's called, you know. But if it's the Most High is going to hit those he's trying to, he's going to hit, right, with the death toll, and then guess what? It's a trip, man. When you read about the earthquake that happened in Haiti, right? How many people died in that earthquake? I know it had to be almost, it had to be, it had to be a great number. It had to be like tens of thousands of Haitians that died in that earthquake. You understand? Uh huh. Yeah, that's the sword. That's what you call the sword. That's the sword that's going on. Yep, that's the sword, man. That's coming upon them. And them Dominicans, man, they better stop that mess. They better stop that madness too, man. They better stop killing their brother too, because man, they gonna get hit with something far worse than what Haiti got hit with. You understand? So remember, man, people start talking about the dates for like the thing that happened at Katrina, the what you call it, the Katrina date, a Houston date, all this stuff, man. How it just happened at the same time, man. You don't think the Most High is calculated too? You don't think he can plan certain storms to hit on a certain day in the year around the same time to get you to wake up and open up your mind, to get you to really look up and see the things that's going on? Yes, he can. He can do that. He's the Most High, of course. All right. So now let me go back to the scripture. Let's read on. So it says, verse 6. He says, for wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Right? So this is going back to what we have read in Genesis chapter 6, right? Where it talks about how the earth was corrupt and filled with violence. Okay. So wickedness has exceedingly polluted the earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. It says, therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more, touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things which they wickedly exercise themselves. But the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually, right? So the Lord said, man, he's not going to allow the wicked to do what they're doing no more, right? He's going to intervene. He's not going to hold his tongue anymore. And then he says, man, it's because the souls of the righteous, right? They're the ones crying unto him right now, continually. Remember, we read about that in Revelation chapter 6 and verse 9, right? Where it talks about the souls that are under the altar that were slain for the word of God. So verse 9, he says, therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter, and I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Now, is this talking about Egypt? Modern, I mean, not excuse me. Is this talking about ancient Egypt? No, this is talking about the place that's called spiritually Sodom and Egypt, all right? Where the children of Israel are being held as captives. Here, America. He said, "But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof." You see that? Yeah, exactly. So this is the second time the Lord's going to do it. This is not talking about the Egypt that's over there in Africa, right? In Northeast Africa. This is talking about the Egypt over here in the Western Hemisphere. We're talking about America, Babylon, spiritually Sodom and Egypt. This is what the Lord is speaking about, okay? So he said he's going to smite this place with those plagues, right? So now he says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. Right? He says, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting hail and the fearful constellations. Right? That's when they fear the blood moons and all of that stuff. Right? So, the blood moons and the eclipse and all that, they were afraid of that stuff, man, because of what they believe it represents. You understand? So now he says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. So it's like, woe unto the world. All right. Great destruction is going to come to the world. Okay. And them that dwell in it. He says, for the sword and their destruction draw nigh, one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, right? So check that out, Tahawar. He says that one people shall stand up against another, and they're going to fight each other. They're pretty much going to sit there and they're going to start killing each other, right? He says, for there shall be seditions among men, and one invading another. You understand? So going back to nations invading, you know what I'm saying? Other countries, right? Like America invading Iraq, right? America invading Afghanistan. America trying to invade in Syria, right? Or Syria. You know what I mean? Trying to invade these different parts of the Middle East, America and Africa, so on and so forth. So one invading another. Remember, you have Russia that invaded the Ukraine. Okay, you got China and Africa now setting up military bases. They're invading one another. You have ISIS invading what you call Syria and other places, right? So it says, for there shall be seditions among men, one invading another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their own power. Then you're going to see that there's going to be a lot of what you would call street justice, right? Matters being taken in their own hands. You're going to see people that say, no, man, the hell with you. We don't care about that. And they're gonna start killing their own princes and their governors, man. They're gonna take matters in their own hand because they're not receiving the justice that they believe that they should receive. All right. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, right? So all these things, man, bro, they're gonna begin to happen. All right. So the Most High, man, bringing those destruction, man, to this earth. Okay, so these are some of the plagues. All right. So from there, so then you can write down Second Ezra 16, chapter 16, 18 through 28. So that's dealing with the great destruction. So pretty much, man, you got the earthquakes, man, that's supposed to occur, man. It's supposed to be one major earthquake that's going to destroy America completely, right, and break it into like three parts from what the scriptures say. So then you can write Second Ezra chapter 9, 1 through 8, Second Ezra chapter 2, 5 through 7, which that's a pretty powerful one, man, to tell you about what's happening, about how the waters being polluted, so on and so forth. Flint, Michigan, you know what I'm saying, how the lead is in the water, that's a good scripture for that. Uh, monstrous, menstruous women or unclean women shall give birth to, men that's going to do unspeakable evil or monstrous beasts. Um, then you can write these down how it says the Lord will protect the righteous, right? So Job 5:19, so showing how the Lord will deliver, how we can go through six troubles, and then the Lord will deliver us from the seventh. You understand? And no evil will touch us upon the seventh, right? So you know what I'm saying? I could be faced with six different men in front of me. They trying to rob me. I beat all of their butt. I beat all of their behinds. Then I come within the inch of my life, and then next you know I get out of that trouble, then face another trouble. May have to may have to save somebody from a burning building. That's a trouble. Then may have to, fight to get my family back. That's a trouble. But then he said the seventh, no evil shall touch me. So a group of lions may be, what I'm saying, roaming in the pack, right? And they just may pass us up. That's the most I showing you, man. Like, no, they're not. That's not gonna touch you. That's for somebody else. All right. Isaiah 65:13. That's dealing with this how the showing how the saints are gonna be all right. How the saints of the Lord, we're gonna be all right. How when when everybody else is hungry, everybody else is thirsty, the Lord's gonna show us, man, He's gonna take care of us. That's how people gonna know, like the Lord God of Israel is dealing with us. All right, just by the things that He do for us. And last but not least, Second Ezra chapter 8 and starting at verse 1. So that's just showing you really how the new world is only going to be made for just a few. Right, the world that is to come is only going to be made for a few. It's not going to be made for everybody. So just imagine, right? The Most High is showing you that he has what you would call a Georgia guidestone in his Bible right here. He's showing you how he's going to eliminate anybody and everybody that does evil. And if you don't want to repent or bow down to the Most High, He's gonna kill you off. From the 2/3 of Israel to the 2/3 of the nations, He's gonna kill them off, man. He's gonna kill them off. All right. Then you can write Ecclesiasticus chapter 39:28 now. Then Isaiah 28:2 and Psalms 83:15. You can write down Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 2, Ecclesiasticus chapter 39, verse 28, Psalms 83:15. So you can look at those, and those are pretty much speaking about how the Lord will visit us, and then how the Lord uses certain spirits for vengeance that'll do His will and please Him. So yeah, so those are the ones that you can look into as well. I read down to verse 17. Huh? No, I just gave scripture to read after that. Now check this out. I thought this was pretty interesting, right? It says hurricanes start in Africa. So it says hurricanes hit the U.S. Hurricanes that hit the U.S. are formed over the Atlantic Ocean by the warm waters off the tropical west coast of Africa. Warm water warm the air above it. Hurricanes start as a low pressure area, and the circling wind picks up energy from the warm, moist air, right? That is the logical explanation for the hurricane. Yes. Oh, yeah, it is. It's falling out, huh? Falling out, huh? But this was basically, what I wanted to show, man, about how Those hurricanes they start from West Africa. They build up power across the Atlantic, and they get bigger and bigger until they hit either the Caribbean, and then they work their way up to what we know as you know to what we know as the South. Right? It's a trip, man. You don't see the hurricanes stretch no further than from the south. They can go to Texas. You know what I mean? They hit Louisiana hard. They can go all the way up to New York, right? But yet, when it comes down to going to Michigan, North Dakota, South Dakota, you know what I'm saying? Montana, over here from Wyoming, Denver, Arizona, they don't even touch those areas. New Mexico, they don't touch those areas. They don't touch those areas in the Midwest and all of that, you know. And they talking about because there's some warm air and all of that. That's complete BS, you know. So in South Carolina, yeah, I mean there were storms, but it wasn't hurricane. The Hurricane Matthews came in after we left. It came in like a month after we left because it hit in October. Uh, but you'd be surprised how it don't touch a lot of black folks. It it basically affect more so the white folk. White people they get affected the most by it, man. Just like the fires and all of that. You know what I'm saying? We can't even visibly see the fires that's going on in California right now. You know what I mean? Like now, if we was to go like towards North Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? We would be like in the areas where Pierce College is. We'd be able to see the fires clear as day. You know what I mean? I remember when I went out there towards Pierce College, man. Shoot, I could literally see the mountains burning. The fires burning. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I was literally like maybe almost 3, 4, 500 yards away from whatever, whatever fire was burning over that way. You know what I mean? Because I had an interview out there, and I was like, wow, that fire is still burning. Like it's been fires going on for a while now. You know what I'm saying? In the mountains, man, that they haven't been able to control. All they can do is try to keep it at bay, put it out the best way they can until it go out on its own. That they're not gonna be able to control with the Most High starting. You know what I'm saying? You can think it's man-made, but it ain't man-made. You understand? It ain't man-made whatsoever, man. You're dealing with the Most High. You know, so that's what people got to begin to actually realize and understand, man. I mean, the Most High shows us like, look, you have to properly prepare yourselves too for this. You know what I mean? To an extent, man. Shoot, I mean, he's going to look out for us, but we still have to make sure that we prepare ourselves for really what's to come. So the Most High, man, does show us. He is showing us those signs, man, and he is bringing those plagues. Now, you could, like I said, look at it. You could look at the pattern, man. You ain't. I'm talking about. When have you ever seen in just by you watching the news or just looking at weather program, you've seen these storms, man, come back to back like that. That's what the Most High showing us. These plagues, he basically showing you. He letting that arrow go. And those plagues, he's gonna keep sending them. It's gonna be like that. And then it may lighten up a little bit. He's getting when it you gotta understand when it lightens up like that, that means he's giving you a space to repent. You know what I mean? He's giving you a space to repent. But if you don't, then guess what? He gonna send another one. He gonna send another one. He gonna send another one. And then it's not gonna stop. The Most High, man, he shows us, man. He ain't gotta stop nothing. This brother over here snoring his butt off. Yeah, let's see. This brother knocked out. It's all good. But yeah, man, this app is very interesting. But anyways, So, if there are are there any questions? If there are no questions, then we're going to close out. And, you know, I can give it to you afterwards. I can give them to you after because they're right here. All you got to do is come up here and look at them. But, anyways, so we close out the class. But for those who are watching, thank you once again for tuning in to another Sons of Isaac Israelite Congregation Sabbath study. So definitely like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and feel free to leave your comments. And with that, say shalom.